I'm Lenora Lyons from Explore Art and the Journal Project here at the Cape Cod Art Association, and today I want to show you about making art journals. It's easier than you think. At the Journal Project we always start with the least threatening paper, just a plain piece of paper, and we start by making the backgrounds. You can change the backgrounds with a little bit of contact paper and watercolor paint. And I'll show you some different ways that you can alter the paint behind it. This one is done with tape, and then the dots were made with bubble wrap. I like that. This one, this pattern was made with this packing material that a friend of mine gave me. Test tubes came in this one, and it can give this texture here. I like this. This was watercolor paint, and it was sprayed with rubbing alcohol, and that splashed it out. You can also do a lot with your basic acrylic paints. This was painted with acrylics and gesso and then altered with this rubber stamp, just stamped all over it. This was done the same way with this stamp here. You can see the pattern, but this also has a little window in it. This is a translucent window. You can make screen windows or clear ones. They all work fine. And then you can see something behind it. That's a fun technique. This page was printed with bubbles. This was an interesting page because this is using the same theory as salad dressing. Oil and water don't mix. And this was done with both watercolors and acrylics, and some texture was added with these foam pieces that come from meat trays. So that's an easy way to alter the textures. Then you need to fool around a little bit. One thing that's kind of fun to do is to add pockets. You can see that sewn in. Add a little pocket. You can also take photocopied images. Here's a photocopy of an x-ray of my foot. And there's a way that you can capture the ink and get rid of the paper. I don't know if you can see this hanging up like this, but I'm going to show you it here. And then you can see the color behind that. This can be used for a lot of different things and can really add a lot of interest to your pages. Here's another page done with a magazine picture, which also works. It's a magazine picture of a bird where I've gotten rid of the paper but kept the image and then put it on this gesso and paint paper. This is done with a comb, and this is done with a regular sponge. That can be fun. Then there's collage. I'm a big fan of Eric Carle, and his work is award-winning because of the paper he uses. He starts with a piece of paper and then adds paint to it. This is a mulberry paper, which is a little bit stronger and easier to use than tissue paper. And then paint is added with a variety of techniques. Some of you may have tried sponging at home. This is rubber bands taped to a clothespin. An expired credit card with a little pattern cut into it works well. A little buzz cut comb, that works. And this kind of foam wrapping, and there's really countless other things you can do. All kinds of corks and other things too. Here's another sponge. So you can add some interest with that, with interesting paper. And you can also collage some other things that you might have at home. I love these pull-off calendars. There's lots of things you can add for collage, and you can use that same tape technique to get rid of the paper on these. So maybe you've gotten some greeting cards. I'd love to put this in a book. Report cards, little thoughts from the day or clippings from the newspaper, or maybe some of your children's drawings. And then you need some lettering. All kinds of ways to do this. Stencils. I have lots of different kinds of these. Rubber stamps in different sizes. And I can also teach you a technique to cut out letters of the alphabet with small squares of paper. So then, here's a little finished example. This is a leather cover. The watercolor techniques here. Some different textures. You think about how pages are arranged, little pockets. Here's a window with a screen, a little statement about money, and these are the cutout letters here, and so on. So then you want to put it all together. You use this binding machine. You put the papers in one page at a time. Line them up on a jig like this. Line the holes up here. You can see the holes here. Line it up, and then we're just going to roll it up. And while I'm doing this, I want to tell you about some of the books that I want to make. I never got around to making a baby book for my kids. I had 2 babies at the same time and couldn't make the books because I was taking care of babies. I'd like to make books about their childhood. I'd like to write my memoirs, write my life story in a book. And I think there's a friend of mine I'd like to honor too. So I'll just show you. I'm rolling this up here. And then you pull it off and you can continue rolling it in, and the book is bound that way. It's fun. It's easy. You don't have to be an artist. We can do this in groups of your choice. Give us a call at the Art Association. We'd be happy to tell you about making all kinds of art journals.